Because again, whereas in other areas of life, one could technically ignore the divine messages which are being recorded or which are being conveyed. When it comes to health, which impacts one so directly and so acutely, one cannot ignore the messages which come from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he gives, and the idea ultimately is that man has to interpret his health situation as, and that's, by the way, that's both in times of good and in times of difficulty, as a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The idea being that when it comes to health, there's no teva. When it comes to health, there's no natural order. Health is one of the things, like the Gemara says that there are three keys. Remember, we saw it, that there are three keys in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which he does not delegate to a shaliach. One of those keys is the mafteach shel chaya. So often we translate chaya as childbirth, pregnancy. That the mafteach shel chaya, that goes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, only the Moshe Olam could control whether or not life is created. But the truth is, you can take a much broader definition of that statement as well. Mafteach shel chaya also means the key of life. That life is something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu controls. The nature of one's health, the quality of one's. Obviously, I could engage in decisions which impact that health, which impact that quality. But Lamaisa, at the end of the day, it's controlled by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not teva that drives it. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu that drives my health. Therefore, by definition, when times are good or when times are challenging, there is a message from the Ribono Shel Olam in that. So pick up bottom of page Kufnun Hey. In order to strengthen this point, Navi Shnei Maisim. Let's go ahead and bring two Maisalach, two stories. Shahayu Lam Eidim Rabim Shemehem Nira B'chush Shein Shum Teva Kalal. And the point of these stories, which are going to be some pretty dramatic stories, is just to highlight the idea that there is no teva, that there is no natural order when it comes to health. So the first Maisa is brought down in some of the sichos of Rabbi Nachman. So listen to this. One time someone came before the Rabbi Nachman, and he was having serious problems with his arm, his hand, to the point that he was really unable to move his arm at all. So what he's describing over here, his yado was tuluya b'tzavaro, means he was in a sling. He was in a sling, right? He has some type of sling tied around his neck. His arm is in the sling. This is the derech with those who are ill. He was unable at all to move his arm. Because his sickness and his pain was especially acute. Turn the page, Kufnun Vav. So the remedy, apparently, that the doctors were giving him was salt water. Salt water, I don't know what salt water has to do with it, but that's what they were telling him. That was their first salt water. Okay. So listen to this. The man was exceptionally poor, and he had no money for any of these remedies, any of these refuos. Now, by the way, do you realize how poor you have to be to not have enough money for salts, to not have enough money for salt water? But he didn't have enough money to whatever it is. It could be that the salt water was just one of the remedies. So again, it was on Shabbos day when the Rebbe was sitting down for his morning meal, Shabbos morning meal, on Rabbeinu Zichron Livracha, v'amar la'osan yoshen sivo, shezeh ish bevadei yesh la'amuna. So the Rebbe started talking about this particular individual, the individual who was ill, and he said, "I'm assuming this man is a Baal Emunah. Is he someone who possesses Emunah?" They said, "Of course, yes, he's a Baal Emunah." V'kafal advarim. So and Rabbi Nachman said again, he's a Baal Emunah, right? And the Chassidim said, yes, he's a Baal Emunah. It says, V'diber mizeh ktsas, im yesh lo emunah. And again, this conversation kept kind of revolving on the same thing. Does he have emunah? Ve'eshivo hein, achar kach tziv Rabbeinu, zichron livracha, pitom la'ish hanal, sheyorid yado. So what happens? Then after this conversation, Rabbi Nachman says to this man, I want you to take your hand out of the sling. Take your hand out of the sling. V'nifal ma'od. Now, obviously, the man was very overwhelmed. When you've had an injury, so anyone who's had an injury experiences, when you've had an injury, even after technically you're healed, there's a lot of anxiety about moving the limb. So the man was very scared. The Rebbe tells me, I haven't taken any of the remedies. Rebbe tells me to move my arm. So v'chala am niflu v'nishtomu ki hayadavar tamua ma'od ma'od. And the truth is, the people were very amazed by this because this was a strange thing. Rabbi Nachman, and especially in the beginning of his life, Nachman doesn't live long. He dies at the age of 39. But especially in the beginning, he was a nistar, meaning he did not want to be known. He was not like, he didn't want to be known as a miracle worker. He didn't want to be known as a Rebbe. So this idea that there's like a public display over here, and the idea that the Rebbe is making miracles, right, or affecting Yeshua's, was something strange for the Hasidim to see. This man was ill for a very long time. The man has been sick for such a long time, and now the Rebbe is just telling him, take your arm out of the sling and just move your arm around. So what happens? So the Hasidim came along, helped the man, and they removed the sling. Okay, the man wasn't doing it himself. The Hasidim removed the sling. And amazingly enough, as soon as they went ahead and they removed the sling, so what happened? The man was moving his arm. And everybody was speaking about the incredible miracle. The man was healed in that very moment. And ultimately, again, his arm returned to full use, just like a regular healthy person until this day. So what's the takeaway from this? This particular episode, which had many witnesses, many people who saw it, mochiach she'ein shum teva klal. See what I said? The point of this story is not that Rabbi Nachman could do miracles. That's not the point of the story. Whether Rabbi Nachman could do miracles, couldn't do miracles, I don't know. But that's not the point. The point I will say is that when it comes to one's health, there is no teva. There is no natural order. What do I mean by that? Ki osam to'im ushririm piguim v'cholim lo haisa shum derech al pi atava lahachzir lahem chiyusam bin rega. Kimila l'rapos es atam acholim b'meshach zman ma afshar lahavin shezeh afshari aydir fuos aval l'raposam bin rega miyachal hasosos. So it's like this idea that a person who is ill can be healed, so that we all know. But the idea that things can happen instantaneously, so how could medical science explain that? And the answer is it can't, but it doesn't need to, because rak rofei cholim bichvod ba'atzar kodesh baruch hu, lachin rak b'koach ha'emunah shel osa adam nisrapa yado khalil belishum siba ukeheref ayin. I'll say ultimately, again, the message that the Rebbe is trying to convey, that's at the beginning of the story. Sometimes when people hear stories about Rebbes, they only go ahead and focus on the result. Rabbi Nachman healed the man who wasn't able to use his arm. I'll say that's not the important part of the story. The important part of the story is the beginning, where Rabbi Nachman keeps asking over and over and over the same question, which is this guy a Baal Emunah? Does he believe that ultimately everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Does he recognize that his health is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that his life is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that every breath is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And I think I've mentioned this before. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak brings down on the pasuk, Kol haneshama tahalel ka. So every soul should praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that it goes to the Zohar, and the Zohar says, V'chol neshima uneshima tahalel ka. With every single breath, you should go ahead and praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what does it mean with every breath I should praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So Rabbi Yitzchak says something amazing. He says, every single time a person exhales, the neshama yearns to get out of the body, because the neshama yearns to get out of this world. The neshama doesn't want to be here. The neshama wants to be with HaKadosh Baruch Hu by the Kisei HaKavod. And what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? Every single time I exhale, the Ribono Shel Olam says, neshama, stay put. Stay put. You're not going anywhere. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzvah. He commands the neshama to remain in me because I still have more to accomplish. I still have more to do. I still have more growth that Amir Hashem has to actualize. So every single breath is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every single part of my body is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My vitality, when things work, when things don't work, that's all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why the Rebbe was able to say, do you have emunah? Do you have emunah? If you have emunah, is it possible that HaKadosh Baruch Hu could cure you in a split second from that which is ailing you? So if you really believe that, if you really believe it, then in Meretz Hashem it can happen. Does it always happen? We know it doesn't. But Lamaisa, again, at the end of the day, a person has to live with the emunah that it can. I will say, now, why is this important? Because if you live with that emunah, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Rofei Kol Basa, that He is the one ultimately again who controls me, who controls my life, who controls my health. Therefore, when something happens with my physical well-being, be it L'tov or L'ra, in a positive way or in a difficult way, I recognize that as what? As a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then my job becomes to figure out, so what is the message? What is the message? If everything, I was saying, sometimes we only look for divine messages when things go wrong. You have to look for divine messages when things are good also. Person wakes up in the morning and Baruch Hashem, everything's okay. There's a divine message in that. What's the divine message? Usually it's get out of bed and get something done today. Usually that's the message. But I will say on a serious note, you see if your body works well, your health is good, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling you something. So same idea, if something's not working well, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling me something, and it becomes my job ultimately to figure out what that divine message is. But we'll stop over here. We'll pick up in Meretz Hashem Kuf Nun Zayin tomorrow. All right, we'll say good morning. Let's begin. We have, Baruch Hashem, a lot to do today. Today's daf is Kuf Beis 102. We are picking up from Kuf Aleph Amud Beis. We have, as I said, a lot to do. So we'll say we're picking up Kuf Aleph Amud Beis 101b. We're picking up at the first of the widest lines. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 lines up from the bottom. We will Okay, good. It's going to be good. So our shir this morning is dedicated by Yonah and Shushi Ehrenfeld in commemoration of the upcoming yahrzeit of Yonah's grandfather, Gedalia ben Yaakov HaKohen. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, his neshama will have an aliyah and a family in a chava. Also, in this chus of for Sima Haken, for Sima Bas Miriam, who's having surgery today, we hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, she will have a complete and enduring refuah. So we'll say, so let's begin. So it says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, we'll say first wide line, Kuf Aleph Amud Beis. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, if Nei Mazach Yeravam L'Malchus. Why did Yeravam merit to become king? Because ultimately, again, he gave Musar to Shlomo HaMelech, meaning when Shlomo was doing something wrong, he gave Musar to Shlomo. And ultimately, again, why was he punished? Because he admonished Shlomo publicly. Meaning he gave Musar, that was good, but he embarrassed Shlomo publicly, that was not good. Shneimar, Sagar as parrot's ear, David Aviv. Sagar as parrot's ear, David Aviv. Amrlo, David Avicha, parrot's parrots bechoma, Kedishialu Yisrael Regel. Va'ata Gedarta also Kedelasos and Gaila Bas Paro. So we'll say, the Gemara says the following: Shlomo HaMelech had sealed off some of the entrances into Yerushalayim because he wanted to build a beautiful residence for Bas Paro. So Yeravam gives him Musar. You know, your father David made as many entrances into Yerushalayim as possible to accommodate the flow of Ovli Regel, the people coming into Yerushalayim, and you are sealing off entrances to build a palace for your idolatrous wife. So he gave him Musar, but he gave him Musar publicly. And again, a sign of disrespect that Yeravam gave to the king was that he removed his tefillin in the presence of the king. So removing your tefillin in the presence of someone, at least historically, was considered to be an act of disrespect. The one goes right. Yeravan's gaiva is something that removed him from this world. Remember again, so Yeravam becomes king. So now Yeravam, we'll say, sometimes Yeravam was very reticent to assume the monarchy. That is an interesting thing that happens with people. So they might be reticent to assume power, yet what? Once you give them power, they can't get enough of it. So Yeravam doesn't want it, but once he gets it, he's scared of losing it. So he has to come up with a plan. So what's the plan? Yeravam says to himself, Im yala amazeh lasos v'chim b'veis Hashem Yishalayim v'shavli ba'amazeh el Adonai Aruchavam Melech Yehuda v'harguni v'shavli Aruchavam Melech Yehuda. So he says, here's the issue. The issue is, right now, I control 10 of the tribes. But if they go up to Yerushalayim 3 times a year, it's only a matter of time until they once again pledge their allegiance to the Davidic king, to Rechavam, and I'm going to lose my entire kingdom. So what did he do? Here's the issue. The issue is, the only people who are permitted to sit in the Azar, in the courtyard of the Beis HaMikdash, are Davidic kings. So if they see Rechavam was the son of Shlomo HaMelech sitting in the Azar because he's a Davidic king, and they see me standing, they're going to say, oh, he's the king, and Yeravam is an Eved. So what happens? And if I sit in the Azara, then that's an act of rebellion on my part against the Davidic line. So what should we do? They'll kill me. And they follow Rechavam. Miyad vayoytz hamelech ve'ashnei eglei zav. Vayomer aleihem rav lochem me'alos Yerushalayim. Hine elokecha Yisrael asher aluchem eretz Yitzrayim vayasem esa echad bebeisel ve'esa echad nasan bidan. So the Gemara says, so what does he do? He comes up with what he thought was a great idea. He builds 2 golden calves, and he puts one of them in Beitel, one of them in Dan, and ultimately, again, he says to the members of his kingdom, there is no need for you to ascend to Jerusalem anymore. You could worship God right at these 2 sites. My vayoyitz, I'm Rabbi Yehuda shehoshiv rasha etzel tzadik. So listen to this, I will say. So how did Yeravam ben Nevat go ahead and solidify his rule over his kingdom? So also remember, he establishes 2 golden calves. Now, it begins as a suggestion. It later on becomes law. You are not allowed to ascend to Yerushalayim under the penalty of death. He posted soldiers by the golden calves, and if you tried to ascend to Yerushalayim, you'd be executed by his sentries. So how does Yeravam ben Nevat solidify his hold over the kingdom? So watch this. He convened his cabinet, and in his cabinet he had tzaddikim and he had Rishon. He put tzaddikim next to Rishon. And what happens? Will you guys sign off on everything that I do? So what Yeravam ben Nevat was asking for was, do I have your allegiance? Do I have your allegiance? And they said, yes, you have our allegiance. You're our king. Whatever you want to do, do. He says, I want to be the king. I want to solidify my throne. Hey, sure, no problem, it's yours. So he said to them, I want you to know that anything I tell you to do, you will do. Him. They said, of course. Even if I tell you to worship idolatry, I want to know that you're going to comply. So the tzaddikim who were part of the cabinet over here said, God forbid, chas v'shalom, we should do something like that to worship idolatry. So the Rishonim convinced the tzaddikim. They say, no. Yeravam is not serious. He's not really going to worship idolatry. Rather, he's testing our allegiance. What he's saying is, even if I asked you to go ahead and worship idolatry, would you be willing to do it? And it was a test of allegiance. But he would never, chas v'shalom, ask us to do it. So even the tzaddikim were convinced. And they said, okay, top of Kuf Beis, v'af achi ashiloni ta'av v'chasam. So we'll say, so what happens? So Yeravam ben Nevat drafts this kingdom charter, this charter for the kingdom. And the charter for the kingdom, it says, I am the king, I am the absolute monarch. Whatever I say, you will do, even if I tell you to worship idolatry. And when this becomes the charter, and then Yeravam ben Nevat actually goes ahead and sets up the 2 golden calves, so the general populace assumes that everyone, even the tzaddikim, are supportive of this particular endeavor. Even the prophet Achi Ashiloni made a mistake and ultimately went ahead and signed onto this decree. Listen to this. Yehu tzaddik Rabba. Yehu, who was one of the kings, was a great tzaddik. Shneimar, Vayomer Shal Yehu, Ya'ar Asher Tivos Alasas Yeshav Einei, Kichol Asher Belvavi Asis LeBeisachav, Bnei Revim, Yeshu Lecha Kisei Yisrael. Yehu, was given the command by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to wipe out the family of Yeravam ben Nevat. So the Gemara says, Uksiv, V'yehu lo shamar laleches b'toras Hashem Elokei Yisrael, b'chol levavo, lo sar me'al chatas Yeravam asher hechti es Yisrael. So yet there's a contradictory passage. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Yehu, I see you to be an exceptionally pious individual. You're going to help me eradicate the idolatry of Yeravam. Yet the pasuk then says that Yehu himself fell prey to the idolatry of the house of Yeravam. So what's going on over here? My Garmale, what caused Yehu to mess up? Abaye bris crucilis fasayim. So we'll say, interestingly enough, Abaye says there is a covenant made with the lips. What does that mean? That when a tzaddik says something, I will say, even if he doesn't mean it, those words take on a reality. Shne'emar achav avad habal ma'at Yehu ya'avdenu harbe. So I'll say Yehu has a plan to get rid of Baal. Baal is an avodah zarah, so he has a plan to get rid of Baal. What's his plan? He makes a proclamation when he becomes king. He's king of Malchus Yisrael, and he says, "Listen, here's the deal. You guys think that Achav was an idolater? I'm going to be even a bigger idolater. So let's throw a major, like a major idolatry party, right? The idol palooza. Let's get everybody together. And what's going to happen? And he gets his whole chap is get everybody together. He surrounds the massive central Baal temple with his soldiers, and then he tells his soldiers to go in and kill everyone. That's how he wipes out the entire Baal cult in one fell swoop. There's only one problem, says the Gemara. When the tzaddik says something, those words take on a reality. And the tzaddik goes, he said, I'm even going to be even a bigger Baal worshiper. The fact that he made that statement ultimately, again, entrapped him in certain idolatrous practices himself, to the point that even later on in life, he becomes wrapped up in some idolatry. So I will say, an incredible mussar into the power of words. That when the tzaddik says something, and by the way, it's not just the tzaddik, but it's all of us, when you see something, those words create a reality. And even if I don't mean for those words to create the reality, they do. The Gemara goes right to Rava says, Chos Moshe Achi Ashiloni Rabata. Others say that no, what messed Yehu up in the end is that he saw this letter, the proclamation of Yeravam, like the charter of his kingdom that was signed by Achi Ashiloni. He saw the prophet of Israel sign on a document that said, if the king commands you to worship Avodah Zarah, you should do so. So he didn't understand how the prophet of Israel signed on this. So he thought, well, maybe idolatry is not as bad as I thought it was. Dichsiv, because he quotes over here the pasuk from Hosea, V'shachata seitim ha'emiku va'ani mosar l'kulum. I'm Rabbi Yochanan, Rechel Baruch Hu. Heim ha'emiku mishali. The Rebbe Shalom says, Klal Yisrael has been even more machmir than me. How so? Ani amarti kol she'eno ola l'regel over ba'aseh. I said, whoever isn't ola l'regel, whoever doesn't descend, violates a positive commandment. V'heim amru kol ola l'regel yidak yabecharev. Yet Yerava ben Nevat said, whoever is ola regel, right? If you try to go to Yerushalayim from Malchus Yisrael, you'll be stabbed. I'll kill you. So also listen to this. It wasn't that time that Yeravam left Yerushalayim. So what happens? Yeravam ben Nevat is leaving Yerushalayim. Now remember again, just to understand, up until before Yeravam, so the Malchus, the monarchy is consolidated under the reign of Shlomo. Under the reign of Rechavam. Then ultimately, again, Rechavam makes some very bad decisions, and there is a split in the monarchy. Achi Ashiloni tells Yeravam ben Nevat, who was a righteous man, at first was a righteous man. He was corrupted by power, right? Or I say he allowed power to corrupt him. Ultimately, again, then Achi Ashiloni tells Yeravam, you are going to be the first king over the split kingdom of Yisrael. So Achi Ashiloni finds Yeravam ben Nevat in the field. He's wearing a new garment. This time was preordained. What the Gemara is picking up on is it says Vayhi ba'isahi, and it wasn't that moment. The Gemara just points out the lashon of Vayhi, and it wasn't that moment means that this time was set aside for this catastrophic event of the split in Malchus Yisrael. Ve'es pikudasam yavedu tan Rabbi Yossi eis mizumenas leparanos. Ve'es ratzon inisicha tan Rabbi Yossi eis mizumenas letova. Ubiyon pakti upakarati aleim chatas. So we'll say the idea says we'll say the idea is whenever you see that lashon of Vahiba Isi, it was in that moment, that means that this particular time was set aside for something dramatic to occur. And Rechavam, the boss said Rechavam was the son of Shlomo HaMelech, goes to Shechem because it was in Shechem that they decided to coronate him. Tanur Rabbi Yossi, Makom Mezuman Laparanos. They will say Shechem is a place in which terrible events occur. B'Shechem Inu as Dina, it's in Shechem that Dina was abducted and raped. B'Shechem Machru as Yosef, it was in Shechem that Yosef was sold by his brothers. And B'Shchem nechlaka malchus beis David. And it was in Shechem, I will say, that the official rupture in the kingdom of Klal Yisrael, making into two kingdoms, Malchus Yehuda and Malchus Yisrael, occurred. The Yeravam Yatza Yerushalayim, and Yeravam left Yerushalayim. So we'll say, what does that mean? It says the Gemara, Amar B'Chani Bar Papa, Sheyatza Me Piska Sheyushalayim. We'll say it's interesting. He removed himself from like the tax rolls of Yerushalayim, meaning when he left Yerushalayim, he renounced his Yerushalayim citizenship. I am no longer a citizen of Yerushalayim. And Achia Shiloni finds him, and he's wearing a new garment, and they're both alone in the field. What does it mean he was wearing a new garment? Amrav Nachman, Kis Salma Chadasha. That Yeravam ben Nevat was like a new garment. What does that mean? Mas Salma Chadasha in Bashum Dofi, just like a new garment, has absolutely no imperfection. After Shal Yeravam, Lo Haya Bashum Dofi. So to the Torah of Yeravam had no imperfections. So Yeravam ben Nevat was chosen because he was a righteous man. He was a righteous man who was an exceptional Talmid Chacham. He was chosen to be the king because even though there was a decree that the Malchus would split, the hope would be that the kings of both kingdoms ultimately would be righteous individuals. Davar achar, Salma Chadasha, Shechidshu Dvarim Shelo Shamu Ozen Me'olam. Others say that what does it mean that he was like a new garment? That he said things that no one ever heard before. He had chidushim, he had novel Torah ideas that no one had ever heard before. Ushneim levanda basada, and they were both alone in the field. Amrav Yehuda Amarav, Shekol Talmidei Chachamim doma lefneim ki isvei asada. That between Achia Shiloni and the Yeravam ben Nevat, they were so great in their learning that all the other Torah scholars were like grass, like blades of grass in their presence. The Ikeda Amar, others explain, that all of the reasons of Torah were revealed to them, just like a field. Just like a field is revealed invisible, so too all the deeper meaning of Torah was revealed to them invisible. So here, the Gemara is quoting over here from the Pasuk. From Micha, titni shiluchim amoreshes gat, bate achziv laachzov lemalchei Yisrael. So what does it mean? Amar Rabbi Chanina bar Papa Yatza bas kava amar lahen. We'll say first of the widest lines on Kuf Beis Amud Aleph. So Rabbi Chanina bar Papa said Yatza bas kava amar lahen. Misha harak es aplishti v'horish eschem gat. He who went ahead and killed the Plishtim, a reference to David HaMelech, killing Goliath, and went ahead v'horish eschem gat, allowed you to inherit the city of Gat. We'll say David HaMelech conquered Gat, which was one of the Philistine strongholds. Titnu shiluchim labanov. You're going to go ahead and you're going to send his son away, meaning it was Musar to Malchus Yisrael. Really, you're forsaking the Davidic kingdom, which gave you so much. You're forsaking the Davidic kingdom, the descendants of David HaMelech, who fought so hard for you. Bate achziv la'achzav l'malchi Yisrael. Literally, you are accepting upon yourself homes of falsehoods from Malchus Yisrael. So the idea over here is Kadosh Baruch Hu is lamenting the fact that Klal Yisrael is giving up the genuine monarchy of David HaMelech's line for the sheker, for the falsehood of Malchus Yisrael. Amrav Chanina bar Papa, Kol hanana min ha'olam hazeh v'lo bracha, kilu goz la Kadosh Baruch Hu. We'll say if you partake of this world, you benefit from this world without a bracha. So you eat food without a bracha. It's as if you are stealing from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and stealing from Klal Yisrael. Meaning the world belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it to be enjoyed by Klal Yisrael, by all humanity, with the understanding that you ask permission, with the understanding that you express gratitude. So if you eat something without a bracha, it is as if you are stealing. Shnei Amar, Gozel Aviv V'ima V'omer in Pesha. If a person steals from his father and mother, but yet he pretends like he didn't do anything wrong, Chaver Ish Mashchis. Ultimately, again, he is a brother, right? He is a brother, ultimately, again, to the destroyer. Ve'in Aviv Ela HaKadosh Baruch Hu. His father is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shneimar Halo Hu Avicha Konecha. Ve'in Imo Ela Knesset Yisrael. And his mother ultimately is Klal Yisrael. Shneimar Shma B'ni Musar Avicha Latito Shtar Simecha. My Chaver Hu Ish Mashchis. We'll say, what does it mean that if a person partakes of this world without making a bracha, and he's stealing from his father, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, stealing from his mother, Klal Yisrael, then ultimately, because we'll say, again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that we are using the world irresponsibly, and we're not expressing proper gratitude or taking proper permission. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes back some of the bracha. So he's stealing from Klal Yisrael. But what does it mean that he's a partner ultimately again to the Ish Mashchis, who is a destructive individual? Who Yeravam ben Nevat. We both say the Ish Mashchis, the destructive individual, that is Yeravam ben Nevat. Shehishchis Yisrael la'avim shebashamayim, because he ultimately again destroyed Klal Yisrael's relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael. Vayidach, so we'll say it's actually really amazing. What the Gemara is saying over here, we'll say, is that if a person goes ahead, the idea is that if you partake of this world without making a bracha, essentially the Gemara is saying over here is you're an ingrate. You're an ingrate. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you everything. All he asks is that you recognize his role in the food that you're eating. All he asks is that you recognize his role in providing that which you have. And if you don't do that, then you're no better than Yeravam ben Nevat. So we'll say, what was Yeravam ben Nevat's downfall? He was an ingrate. Yeravam ben Nevat was handed the monarchy on a divine silver platter. Yeravam ben Nevat was chosen by HaKadosh Baruch Hu because Yoshan believed in it. And then what does he do? He allows his power. He allows his power to go to his head. He becomes about Gaiva. It all becomes about him, and he literally cuts HaKadosh Baruch Hu out of the picture. When you partake of something in this world and you don't make a bracha, you are cutting HaKadosh Baruch Hu out of the picture. So mamish like I become like Yeravam ben Nevat. Very dramatic Gemara. Vayidach Yeravam ben Nevat Yisrael me'achari Hashem v'echtiam chata gidola. Yeravam ben Nevat caused Klal Yisrael to leave HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he caused them to sin a great sin. Amar Rabbi Chanin kishtei maklot hamatizal zu el zu. It's like two sticks. When you bang them against each other, both sides, they both are propelled back in opposite directions. Yeravam ben Nevat caused Klal Yisrael and Kadosh Baruch Hu to go in two separate directions. V'di zahav. So we'll say now we're jumping back to the eagle for just a moment. Now that we mentioned the golden calves of Yeravam ben Nevat, we're spending a few moments speaking about the golden calves, the golden calf in the desert. V'di zahav. So remember again in the beginning of Chumash Devarim, one of the places that the Torah says that Klal Yisrael that they stayed in was a place called Dizahav. There's only one problem. There's no place called Dizahav. So what does Dizahav mean? Amru debei Rabbi Yanai, Amar Moshe lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moshe Rabbeinu said the following: Ribono shel olam, b'shel kesef v'zav she'eshbat lahem Yisrael ad sheyomru dai, karam lahem la'asos lahem elokei zahav. So Moshe Rabbeinu tries to defend Klal Yisrael in the aftermath of the Chet HaEgel. And I want to say, he says, God, I don't want to assign blame for the sin of the golden calf, but it's your fault. Why is it your fault? Because you let them leave Egypt with so much money, so much gold, so much silver, and what? Of course, they were going to mess up. I will say, so Moshe Rabbeinu was saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's like giving $1 million trust fund to an 18-year-old. What do you think is going to happen, right? What do you think is going to happen? So here, these people were slaves. You let them leave, not just with money, but fabulously wealthy. So they had this excess of gold, this excess of silver, and therefore it's only a matter of time until they messed up in some dramatic way. So Mashal, the Gemara says, it gives Mashal in Ari Doris v'noim mitoch kupa shel teven elu mitoch kupa shel basar. The lion only roars, not when he's eating from a trough filled with straw, but only when he's eating from a trough filled with meat. The idea is that the roar of the lion is an expression of he's satiated. So the idea is he only becomes a Baal Gaiva when he's got meat in his belly. You gave Klal Yisrael all of this money. What do you think is going to happen? Rashi gives a more dramatic mashal. Rashi in Chumash gives dramatic mashal that if a man gives his son a purse filled with gold coins and places him at the entrance of a brothel, what do you think is going to occur? So Ribono shel olam, you go ahead and you gave Klal Yisrael all. He's not going to be giving tzedakah, that we know, right? So meaning at the end of the day, you gave Klal Yisrael all of this money. What did you think is going to happen? Amar Rav Oshia, Ad Ravam HaYisrael Yokim Me'egel Echad. So Rav Oshia says, unfortunately, until Yeravam ben Nevat, Klal Yisrael literally Yokim means they were nursing. They only had to deal with the fallout of one golden calf. Mikan ve'elech. And now, unfortunately, after Yeravam ben Nevat, we've got 2 and 3 golden calves. Amar Rav Yitzchak, it's a very dramatic Gemara. So the Gemara essentially says, Yitzchak says, every single calamity that befalls Klal Yisrael, there's some little bit of it that is linked to the Chet HaEgel, that is linked to the golden calf. Now, literally, it means 1/24th of the weight of the measure that's used in measuring out dry measures. We'll see. Remember again, we saw in our Baba Kama days that if you're a merchant and you're measuring out dry measures, you always tip the scales a little bit in favor of the customer, lest again there be some kind of weight erosion on your weights and measures. So that's called the litra. So what the Gemara is saying is it's a small amount, but every single calamity that befalls Klal Yisrael, there's some element of retribution for the sin of the golden calf. What Rabbi Yitzchak is saying is the sin of the golden calf was such a dramatic and traumatic mistake that we are still to a certain degree suffering with the fallout of it to this very day. Fallout from it this very day. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Chanina says, no, in fact, the debt for the golden calf has already been paid. After 24 generations, we have already paid our debt for this sin. Suppose the Gemara goes weiter. Even after all of these things, Yerava ben Nevat did not do tshuva. What does that mean? So we'll say, get ready for this. Get ready for this Gemara. This will say, okay. So if you're just joining our program now, I draw your attention to the last 3 lines of Kuf Beis Amud Aleph. For both say a dramatic Gemara. Both say, listen to this. The Ribono Shel Olam grabbed Yeravam ben Nevat by his bekisha, right? He grabbed him ultimately again by the lapels of his clothing, and he says, "Va'amar lo chazor becha." He says, "Yeravam ben Nevat, do tshuva." Yeravam ben Nevat was a great tzaddik. He was chosen by Hakadosh Baruch Hu because he was a great man. So Hakadosh Baruch Hu kiviyachol grabs Yeravam ben Nevat and he says, "Do tshuva. What are you doing? Why? I've given you everything. I've given you power. I've given you wealth. I've given you dominion. The malchus is yours. Just be a tzaddik." Listen to this. Va'ani va'ato ben Yishai netayo began Eden. Me, you, and David HaMelech in the afterlife, we will walk together in Gan Eden. The Ribono Shel Olam is inviting him to a front row seat in Gan Eden along with David HaMelech. And what does Yerava ben Nevat say? Amar lo, umi barosh. Tell me, who's first in line? Right? Who walks first? Right? The 3 of us are not going to walk in a straight row. Right? Who walks first? God. I got it. You're God. You're obviously going to go in front. Right? But after you, who goes first? Me or David HaMelech? So he says, Ben Yishai Barosh. He says, listen, you're a good guy and everything. Don't get me wrong. Right? But you know David HaMelech. Right? I knew David HaMelech. You know David HaMelech. Right? So meaning at the end of the day, David HaMelech is going to go first. So Ihachi lo ba'ina. Rabbi Nevat says, okay, no thank you. No thank you. It will say, you see the power of Gaiva? Say, you laugh, Yerava ben Nevat. I will say, people do this every single day. Maisim b'chol yom. Oh, it's not going to satisfy my ego. No, thank you. I'm not first. I'm not most important. I'm not prominent. I'm not dominant. No, thank you. It's a beautiful opportunity. Who cares if you're first? Who cares if it strokes you? You don't need your ego to be stroked. You don't need your ego. It's not about your ego. It's about getting things done in life. I'm saying, Maisim b'chol yom. Yerava ben Nevat not only gives up olam haba, Yerava ben Nevat gives up the opportunity to spend eternity with the Ribono Shel Olam. Why? Because David HaMelech gets first in line, and he's number 2. I would say if he was offered number 10, if he was offered number 10,000, he should take it. Because at the end of the day, the ability to be in proximity with the Hakadosh Baruch Hu is the greatest gift to life. But I will say, unfortunately, Yerava ben Nevat condemns himself to a lifetime of I don't know what happens to Yerava ben Nevat, all because of his ego, all because of his gaiva. Or I will say because, again, I will say, you understand something. This is just an aside. I have no time for this, but I'm going to make time for it. I will say, you understand, by the way, that people who are ridiculous bali gaiva, ridiculously arrogant, I will say, you know where that comes from? It comes from insecurities. Remember, at the end of the day, why did Yeravam ben Nevat do what he did? All of this stems, remember how this whole downward spiral begins? The whole downward spiral begins with the two golden calves, which initially wasn't even supposed to be Avodah Zarah. It was supposed to be worship of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just this will be the Beis HaMikdash, because he was scared of losing his power. He was scared of losing his power. He was scared they would go to David and the other shul, right? He was scared that they would go ahead and they would defect. Instead, what he should have said was, listen, you know what? I can't control what people do. The only thing I can control is the type of leader I am. I'm going to be a good leader. I'm going to love my people. I'm going to be a beneficent ruler. I'm going to devote myself to building my kingdom. If they stay, if they go, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. But he was so insecure about his ability to be a leader, that it creates this ripple effect. So because of the golden calves, and then institutionalized idolatry, and then all things, but all what? All in an effort to simply hold on to his power. He was insecure about his ability to hold on to it as a mensch. So he becomes an iron mensch, right? I can't hold on to it. If I'm a Yorei Hashem, so I have to do these other things. And unfortunately, again, it becomes his very own thing. Could have been a great king, could have been a great man who would have held on to his monarchy, who would have held on to his constituents, even with being a great tzaddik. And even if they would have gone to Yerushalayim 3 times a year, he still would have held on to his monarchy. But he was so insecure that he overcompensated by becoming a ridiculous Baal Gaiva. We'll say, which is very important, because sometimes if we're a little bit Gaiva-dik, we have to realize that really what it bespeaks is an insecurity. There's a little boy in there that is insecure about something. So the shaila is, how do I address my insecurities, make myself a whole person, and not allow my gaiva to run away with me? The Gemara goes weiter. Rabbi Avo used to often give shiurim about the 3 kings. The 3 kings who the Mishnah speaks out who don't have a chelik in Olam Haba. What happens? Chalosh. He got sick. Kabil alei delal darish. So he thought, maybe I'm being punished. We'll say Zagana Amuna. Right? Maybe I got sick. I'm getting punished. Why? Because maybe I'm speaking disparaging. Maybe I'm speaking too much about the bad kings. Kevan this is Patach. So what happens? He's healed. So therefore, we'll say what he decides ultimately is Kabil alei delal darish. He makes a Kabbalah. He decides, I'm not going to teach about the 3 kings anymore. The Isbach. So he got healed. Hadar Kadarish. He once again begins to give shir about the 3 kings. Amri lo Kabila Salach lo Darashtabu. So as Talmidim said, Rebbe, didn't you make a Kabbalah that you're not going to teach about the 3 kings anymore? So let's listen to this. Amar, Inu mihadrubu da'ana hadarbe. So he says, I don't understand. They didn't do tshuva, so I should do tshuva. So what does that mean? See, he felt at the end of the day, he thought maybe his sickness was attributable ultimately again to the fact that he was speaking about the 3 kings. But then upon further reflection, he understood that no, it's important to teach about these kings, because we're both say, we just like we learn from the accomplishments of people, we learn from the mistakes of people as well. Now, both say the Gemara tells a dramatic story. Dramatic story. Kuf Beis Amud Beis 102b, 3 lines down. Ravashi, get ready, Aboso. Get ready for this. Ravashi, Uki Hashoshim Malachim. Ravashi was giving shir about the 3 evil kings. Amar. Tomorrow, we're going to learn about our buddies. Ravashi was referring to the 3 kings, right? The 3 kings. So I'll say he spoke about them in a disparaging manner. Now, again, at first glance, you're allowed to speak about Rishaim in a disparaging manner. So what happens? So he goes there and he speaks about them. If I have time. Okay, fine. So he speaks about them in a disparaging manner. So what happens? So we'll listen to this. That night, King Menashe. So he was one of the Rishon. Remember, we spoke about him. He reigns for 55 years. Menashe appears to him in a dream. Menashe appears to Ravashi in a dream. Amar, Chavrech v'chaveri da'avucha karislan. Right? You know, chutzpah. Ravashi, you're a mechutzaf. You call us your buddies, your friends. What do you think? We're friends of yours. We're friends of your fathers. Mehecha bayis l'mishra hamotzi. You're so great. Let me ask you a simple shaila. From where on the loaf should you make hamotzi? Simple shaila. From where on the loaf should you make hamotzi? Amarle lo yadana. Ravash says, I don't know. I never heard that there's a particular part of the loaf that you're supposed to make hamotzi on. Amarle mehecha device. The Sigmar says Amarle mehecha device the mishra hamotzi lo gemiras the chavrich karislan. Tell me, Ravashi. This is Menashe Ravashi. You don't even know where on the loaf to make hamotzi from. And you call me your friend? In other words, you're a mechutzaf. Who are you? Who are you? You don't know me, right? You don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know my struggles. And you have the chutzpah to speak about me. I was the Melech Yisrael for 55 years. You have the chutzpah to speak about me in demeaning terms. Amarle, Ravashi is obviously, I would imagine a bit overwhelmed. Amarle, Agmareli, Ulamachar Darshina Le Mishmech Beperka. So Ravashi says, Menashe, King Menashe, teach me the halacha. And I promise you that tomorrow I will teach my Talmidim this halacha in your name. Amarle, mehecha de karim bishula. I will say, where do you make hamotzi from? From the crust. The karim bishula. Ultimately, again, from the crust of the bread. I will say, by the way, that happens to the halacha l'maisa. That when making hamotzi, the first bite that a person should take should be from the crust. The crust is considered to be the best part of the bread. Amarle, now that you're such a Talmid Chacham, my time a kapal chisula avodas kocham. So Moshe, listen to this exchange. So Rav Ashi says to Menashe, first of all, I'm sorry. Sorry, no hard feelings, right? No, I didn't mean, but again, you were like a ridiculous Oved Avodah Zarah, right? You weren't just like a recreational idolater, mamish, like you were 24/7. You were into this stuff. So if you obviously you're a great Talmid Chacham, so why did you worship Avodah Zarah? So listen to what Menashe says. Ihavis Hasam. I'll tell you one thing, Rav Ashi. If you lived in the times that I lived, so he says, I want to tell you something. If you lived when I lived, you would have lifted your cloak up even higher than I did so that you could run faster than me to go worship idolatry. What Menashe was telling Rav Ashi is, you don't understand the times in which, remember again, by the times of Rav Ashi, Chazal already davened for what? For the Yetzer Hara, for idolatry to be removed from this world. So they already couldn't relate to it. So Menashe says, you just don't understand. You don't understand what life was like. You don't understand what the pushes and pulls were like. You don't understand what the draw was like. But I promise you one thing. You think I'm a bad guy? Had you lived in my times, you would have been even a bigger idol worshiper than me. I will say the next day, when Rav Ashi begins the shir, he says to the Talmidim, let's begin learning about our teachers. So he begins to refer to even these evil kings in a deferential tone. Achav, so we'll say there's a lot to say about why Menashe chose that halacha, right? Why that halacha about the bread? But I'll have to save it to a different time. Achav, ach l'shamayim, av la'avodas kochavim. We'll say achav is a contraction. Ach l'shamayim, we'll say ach means like oi, right? When he was like oi to shamayim, meaning his behavior was so terrible in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he was a father to idolatry. Ach l'shamayim d'chsiv, ach l'tzar yuladav. Excuse me, ach l'tzar yulad. Av la'avodas kochavim d'chsiv kirachim av abanim. V'ineh vayhi. Supposed to be the Gemara quotes the pasuk from Malachim Aleph. Vayhi anok yalechto bechatos Yeravam ben Nevat. Amar Rabbi Yochanan kalos she'asa Achav ki chamuros she'asa Yeravam. Supposed to remember again. So Achav comes after, not directly after, but later on after Yeravam ben Nevat. So ultimately again the chamuros, the little sins that Achav did were the equivalent of the great sins of Yeravam ben Nevat. Meaning, as bad as Yeravam was, Achav was even worse. So ultimately, again, why does the Navi attribute the negative behaviors of Achav to Yeravam? Very simply, because of us, Yeravam ben Nevat was the one who started all of the negative behaviors. So the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, "Im mecha kol telem utelem be'eretz Yisrael, shelo hemet alav acha avodas kochavim." There was not one mound of earth in all of Eretz Yisrael, in Malchus Yisrael, that Achav did not introduce idolatry. Meaning, I will say, so Yeravam introduced institutionalized idolatry, but at least what? It was in specific locations. Achav introduces idolatry all throughout the land. How do we know that Achav didn't have a portion in the world to come? Because the pasuk says, "V'echrasi la'achav mashtin bikir va'atsun va'azul b'Yisrael atzur ba'olam hazeh va'azuv la'olam haba." So we'll say the double lashon indicates to us that Achav was lost his life in this world and has no portion in the world to come. Mipnei ma zacha Omri lemalchus. So we'll say this is amazing. Omri was the father of Achav. So why is it that Omri merited to be the king? This is actually quite amazing, because Omri added on one city in Eretz Yisrael. Shneimar, we'll say first of the widest line, Vayikar Asahar Shomron Me'ez Shar V'Kikar Kesef, Vayiven Asahar Vayikar Shema'ir Shabana Sham Shamar Adoni, Shamar Adoni Ahar Shomron. So listen to this. So Omri is credited with one thing. What's the one thing I will say? Eretz Yisrael. He added on to the territorial area of Eretz Yisrael. So we'll say, by the way, this actually was the merit of many of the kings of Malchus Yisrael. They were terrible guys. I shouldn't say that. Nash is going to appear to me in a dream. But they were challenged. They were challenged, right? They were individuals who were not exceptionally pious. Interestingly enough, the one zechus they always had going for them was what? They built Eretz Yisrael. They built Eretz Yisrael. I will say this is like a tenet in Cookian philosophy, right? In Rav Kook, right? Rav Kook has this. So this is why Rav Kook had such warm feelings. Ultimately, again, towards the mitnachalim, the original mitnachalim, right? Who sell their. So even though they were totally removed from any type of religious observance, you see historically that those who build Eretz Yisrael even if they themselves are not personally religious individuals, are beloved in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. These kings were incredible idolaters. To their credit, they built the land. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. We'll say, let's go back there. Why did Achav merit to reign 22 years? This is going to blow your mind. Why? Because he gave honor to the Torah, which was given in 22 letters. So we'll say, what does this mean that he gave honor to the Torah? We'll say, get ready for this Maisa. It's Navi. So we'll say, what happens? The king of Aram goes ahead and sends a message to Achav. What's the message of Osai? Ko Amar ben Hadad. This is what Ben Hadad said. Kaspecha v'zahavcha lihu nashecha ubanecha tovim liheim kim ka'is machar eshlach es avdi elecha v'chipsu es beisecha v'esbate avadecha v'yakol machmat einecha yasim b'yadam v'lakchu. So Ben Hadad essentially again threatens to either conquer Eretz Yisrael, or essentially Achav could pledge his allegiance to Ben Hadad as a vassal state. So Achav chooses not to wage war because he feels he's going to wage the battle. So Ben Hadad says, essentially, everything you have is mine. All of your gold, all of your silver, your women, your children, everything is mine. Kol machmat einecha. Everything, that which is essentially like the apple of your eye, the greatest treasure of your eye. So Vayomer l'malchei Ben Hadad, Amru la'adoni HaMelech, Kol asher shlachti l'avdecha el avdecha b'rishona aseh, v'hadavar hazeh lo uchal lasos. So King, everything we have is yours. The gold is yours, the silver is yours, the women are yours, the children, everything is yours. But that one thing you asked for, that machman deinecha, sorry, can't give you that. My machman deinecha, so what does that mean? Lav Sefer Torah. That machman deinecha is amazing. Achav says, I'll give you everything, but I won't give you our Sefer Torah. I won't give you, whether it means the Sefer Torah, ultimately again of Moshe Rabbeinu, whatever it meant, but the Sefer Torah, we're not giving you. So the Gemara said, well, how do you know it means the Sefer Torah? Maybe it refers to idolatry. Meaning maybe Ben Hadad wanted their idols, and Achav says, "No, I'm not giving you my idols." No, because the elders said, "Don't listen to Ben Hadad. Don't give him the machmad einecha." Or maybe the Dilma Sabi. So we'll say the assumption always is that Zikanim refers to righteous or pious elders. Or maybe that the Dilma Sabi Davasahavu. Maybe it was the elders of idolatry. Nilo Ksiv Vayisha Davar Be'inei Avshalom Vaskinim Ube'inei Kol Zikni Yisrael V'Amar Av Yosef Sabi Davasa. So we'll say in the context of Avshalom, for example, when it speaks about the elders, these were elders of idolatry. So maybe over here it means elders of idolatry as well. Hasam Lo Ksiv V'Chala'am Hacha Ksiv V'Chala'am. But here's the difference. By Avshalom, it doesn't say the entire nation. Here it says the entire nation. The Efshar Delo Hava Bahon Tzadiki. And I will say in the entire nation there must have been righteous people. Uksiv v'sharti v'Yisrael shiva salafim kol abeichem asher lo karu lebal v'chol aper shelo noshak lo. So we'll say ultimately again, we know that even in the midst of Malchus Yisrael, which was an idolatrous Malchus, there were tzaddikim. So what do you see from here? You see from here, I will say, this in general is always the yisod. Even the most corrupt and idolatrous of kings has that pintaliyid, right? He has that spark in him, and when pushed back into the corner, his kedusha will come out. So Achav, who has institutionalized idolatry throughout the land, when Ben Hadad says, "I want your Torah," what does Achav say? "I'll give you my gold. I'll give you everything. I'm not giving you my Torah." Really, Achav? When was the last time you came to Daf Yomi? Right? When was the last time you opened up a chumash? When was the last time you learned the Torah? When was the last time you davened the Shachris? And of course, the answer would be, couldn't remember the last time. But it didn't make a difference. At the end of the day, I'm a Jew. At the end of the day, I'm never going to give my Torah. I might be Achav. I might be the guy who's worshiping idolatry. But at the end of the day, I know what's right. And I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the real God. I worship all this other stuff for convenience. I worship all this other stuff because it consolidates my rulership over the monarchy. But the Ribono Shel Olam is the one and only God. So Ben Hadad, I'll give you everything, but I won't give you my Torah. We'll say quite incredible. Amar Nachman, Achav Shakol Haya. Rav Nachman says Achav actually had an equal number of mitzvahs and an equal number of averos. Shakol means his scales were exactly equal. Shnei Amar, Vayomer Hashem, Mi Yifates Achav, Vaya Vayipal Baramos Gilad, Vayomer Zebekov Zebekov. So we'll say the idea is that the Ribono Shel Olam says to the Neshamas, to the spirits, who will entice Achav that he'll go out to war in Ramot Gilad and he was going to die in that battle. So each of these spirits this one says this one says that. We'll discuss what that means. So what's that? The idea is that Chodesh Baruch Hu couldn't just kill Achav because apparently Achav's mitzvos and averos were equal. So he needed someone from the spirits, one of the spirits, to go and entice Achav to go out to war. Masculine Yosef. So we'll say, how could it be? The pasuk says when speaking about future kings, they say, that this king was bad, but at least what? They weren't as bad as Achav. So it's like Achav is the example, is the paradigm of the worst. So how can you say that his mitzvos and averos were equal? So we'll say the Gemara says, Ashar hista also Izevel ishto, because his wife Izevel enticed him to sin a lot. V'tanina, and the Gemara says, B'chol yom haisa shokeles shiklei zav la'avodas kochavim. So we'll say again, Izevel every single day would give a golden shekel to avodah zarah. I will say it's a huge amount of money. Every single day she would give a golden shekel to avodah zarah. Va'at amrit shakel haya. So we'll say the Navi says essentially that when comparing bad kings to someone, if you want to compare someone against the worst is Achav. And you're going to tell me that his mitzvahs and averos were equal? Ella, you're right. Achav v'achra ma'amonahaya. We'll say this is actually amazing. Achav was a pretty bad guy, but you know what? He was about tzedakah. Amazingly enough, he was about tzedakah, I will say. He might have been pretty bad, but he was exceptionally generous. Umitoch shehena tamidei chacham min achasav kipro lo mechza. And because he supported Torah, because he gave money to Talmidei Chachamim, the Ribbon Shalom absolved him of half of his averos. So what's an incredible yisod? The power of tzedakah. Again, don't try this, but at the end of the day, you can apparently, even if you're the worst oved avodah zarah, but you're a generous individual, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wipes out half of your sins. Now, of course, even if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wipes out half of your sins, remember, you still have the other half to contend with. So I just want to point this out. Okay, wiped out half of his Rabbi say an incredible yisod about the power of being generous, the power of being vatron. So also remember again, the Spirit comes before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and says, I will be the one who entices Achav to go out to war, the war ultimately that which would end his life. So what happens? The Spirit comes before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says, I will entice Achav. So God says to the Spirit, "No, how are you going to entice Achav to go to war?" So the Spirit says, I will be the Spirit who rests upon the false prophets, and these false prophets will tell Achav that he should go out to war in Ramot Gilad, and he'll be successful. So Baruch says, fine, go, do this, v'tzei. My Ruach, so we'll say, whose Ruach is this? Which Spirit is this? Rabbi Yochanan, Ruach shel Navos HaYisraeli. This was the Ruach, this was the Spirit of Navos. So we'll say, who was Navos? Remember again, we know the story. Achav wanted a particular vineyard, which belonged to Navos. Navos would not sell. So Achav tells Izevel concocts this whole story that Navos rebelled against the king and cursed God. Navos is executed, and when you are executed, the king gets your property. So Navos' spirit is looking for revenge. Might say, what does it mean, go out? Amravina, say mechitzasi. Ribbon Shalom says, spirit of Navos, if you're going to do this and essentially lie, you can no longer dwell within my mechitza. Shekem ksiv, dover shkarim lo yikal neged einai. Ultimately, again, because the pasuk says, he who speaks falsehoods cannot exist with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Shalom says to the spirit of Navos, you can do this, but if you do this, you can no longer reside in my mechitza. And I will say, now, what's the amazing part of the story? That the spirit of Navos still what? Decides to go through with it. So I will say, which will end with this. Amar Papa Hanudami Inshi, the parakine machriv beise. As Rav says, this is an example of that which people say, that he who is bent on vengeance destroys his own home. I will say there are some people who are so desperate for revenge that they will do anything and everything for revenge. If unfortunately a person has that destructive midah, they will destroy his own home. Can you imagine this? Navos, the spirit of Navos, is so bent on revenge that he is willing to go ahead and be the false spirit in the eyes of the false prophets or in the hearts of the false prophets, even though what does that vengeance cost him? That vengeance costs him his closeness, his ability to dwell within the mechitza of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If a person is so bent on vengeance, unfortunately, again, they destroy anything and everything within their lives. We'll stop over, pick up over here, tomorrow.